हेलो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, वेलकम टू द गौरव आर्या शो। हमारी शो में कई कई अचीवर्स आए, लेकिन आज का अचीवर बहुत 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 खास है। मैं बात कर रहा हूं किसकी? सोचिए आपने कमांडर अभिलाष टॉमी का नाम सुना है? कमांडर अभिलाष टॉमी, कीर्ति चक्र, नौसेना मेडल, जिन्होंने पूरे दुनिया का चक्कर लगाया एक नाव में। आइए उनसे बात करते हैं। Commander, very, very warm welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, sir.
And let me add, it's an honor and a privilege because what you have done, I have only imagined, and those imaginations were very scary for me. पर आपने जो काम करा है, that is, मतलब, I can't say, that's beyond imagination. And I'm going to ask you all these questions. ये Thermocol की नाव की क्या कहानी है? What is the Thermocol boat story when you were a kid?
So I was in 6th standard, going to 7th standard, and we had this break. School break, and उस टाइम पता नहीं क्या करना था, तो my friend and I used to cross a fence, go to the sea, and pick up huge thermocol sheets that used to wash up, and we used to make raft out of it and just take a huge stick and punt out into the sea. And my mom caught me. So she asked me, was that you? She saw me from the balcony. Was that you? I said yes, and she said, just be careful. She didn't go beyond that. But my dream to go to sea was like it started when I was a kid.
And why did you choose to join the Navy? Fauji background or what happened?
A lot of reasons. Dad was in the Navy, but when I was a kid, I came to know about this army expedition which went around the world, and there was a huge documentary on Doordarshan, inspired me to become a sailor. And there was a pilot from my father's base who crashed his plane, and he died.
Oh.
And because of these two incidents, I wanted to be a sailor and a pilot, and the only place where you could fly and sail was the Navy. And I kept that dream alive till I was 17 and wrote NDA exam and just joined. There were no two thoughts about that.
So you joined the Indian Navy as a naval aviator. These stories about Top Gun and all, are they right or what? Because I've never seen it. I've seen naval pilots fly from Goa, but never been near an aircraft or a Navy aircraft, except from half a kilometer away, if that is anywhere close. So कैसा होता है ये? मतलब what is it like? Top Gun, Shop Gun, elite of the elite?
Well, the general idea that people have of naval pilot is somebody who sits in a beach, plays guitar, and has a beer every day.
No, that's not a bad idea, no?
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, so all our bases are close to beaches, but when we fly, we are very serious. And naval aviation has got helicopters which do anti-submarine, warfare. We've got aircraft that are in ASW, reconnaissance. We got fighters that take off from decks at sea. It's quite complicated, and we really, really complement the ships and what they do at sea.
All right. So you get through NDA.
Naval Academy.
Very sure.
Sorry, I go to the Naval Academy.
No, after NDA you go to the Naval Academy.
No. I joined the Naval Academy as a 10+2 ex-cadet.
All right.
Yeah.
So you go to the Naval Academy as a 10+2 cadet, and then you decide that, and this whole thing about I'll fly and I'll sail and I'll do both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is already there in your mind.
Yeah.
How difficult was it for the first time in the cockpit?
It was fun. I was with the Air Force. I already had my stripes. I had cleared the Naval Academy tenure and all that. And the first sortie is a joyride. And we were over Sangam. And my instructor asked me, Matha Tekna hai kya? So I was like, I don't know what is Matha Tekna. And inside an aircraft, you don't know what he's going to do. I said, yes. And then he puts the aircraft in a dive like this. And then Sangam is, instead of being below you, it's right in front of you. And till now also it's fine because your heart is beating faster and, you've just held your breath tight. And then he pulls the plane up like this. And then there is so much of G-force. For the first time in your life, you experience all these things. And ऊपर आके उल्टा हो जाता है, उल्टा से सीधा हो जाता है, उसमें गर्दन अटक जाता है. So it was crazy. But I should tell you that the first time I sat in an aircraft was in the cockpit, not as a passenger.
Oh, wow. This calls for another episode, actually. So the first time you sit in an aircraft is inside the cockpit.
Exactly.
Must be very, very rare case.
I think
very
so.
rare case. I have not heard of anybody who says that.
Yeah, so these things happen only in the military.
Yeah.
That was a time when flying as a passenger was not so common. But you get to fly in the cockpit.
You get to fly in the cockpit. Acha. So then you become a naval aviator over a period of time.
Yeah.
ये कब ये जुनून आया कि एक नाव पकड़ के ना एक थर्मोकॉल छोड़ो, थर्मोकॉल डेज आर ओवर, एक बोट बनाते हैं या बोट लेते हैं and let me sail around the world.
So I was in the Naval Academy when I come to know about a race called Around Alone, and in that race a French woman was leading, and she was ahead of men by many days, all men. And that kind of inspired me. I thought 20 years later when I retire, I would have saved up enough money to build my own boat and go around the world alone. So that is where the idea started. But I was like saving a lot of money. I had a salary of 8,500. I was putting 8,000 in my DSOP and living on 500 rupees. And I was so sure that I wanted to do this. But the good thing is, 10 years later, the Navy asked me if I wanted to be the shore support for somebody who was going around the world with stops. And I said yes. I saw it as an opportunity.
So this is like a logistics thing.
Exactly. You prepare the boat and you do some training sailing with him. So every port you fly down and, you clean up the boat and you stock it up and you take out the sails, send it for repairs, you do whatever maintenance you can do. And I did that when Captain Donde was going around the world, and he stopped in 4 places. Now, when the Navy saw that this was a success, they decided to do a non-stop. And instead of asking for volunteers, they asked me straight away, do you want to do it? And I said yes. And that's how I ended up doing a non-stop circumnavigation in 2012-13. Took me 150 days. Became the first Indian, only Indian actually, and the second Asian to do this sort of a thing.
I want to ask you, it defies imagination. And I very rarely am I at a loss of words, because normally we on television, you say cue and you start talking. But I'm just thinking, those dark nights when you were alone. You were alone in that boat, right?
Yes, I mean, that's...
There's nobody but you in the boat.
Yes, exactly.
And the elements.
Yes.
How scary was it at night when there were waves and storms and you could have been unwell sometimes?
It was not scary at all. The thing is, it's all about how well you can control your mind. And you reach a stage...
Not scary at all?
No, so that's what, for me it wasn't. I used to meditate at sea. And after 1.5 months, you get such good control of your mind that you realize that all these emotions that are produced inside your head, you can control them. Now, if I don't have fear, it's not good because, you could end up doing something really stupid and kill yourself. But if you have a lot of fear, it can end up paralyzing you and, you end up making wrong decisions.
The right amount of fear, no?
Exactly. So it's like tuning your guitar, you get the right strain.
The right amount of fear.
Yes, exactly.
Edge should be sharp.
Exactly. So you have a positive attitude, but not over positive. You have a negative attitude at times, but not too negative. You have fear, but just enough. And being at that right space for 5 months really helped me, complete the voyage.
My entire seafaring experiences from the movie Jaws. So let me ask you, did you see sharks and stuff?
No sharks, but once I saw a whale, I started recording it, and when I played back the recording, I realized that it was chasing me for a bit.
Acha, you didn't know till then?
No, I saw it in the camera. When I zoomed in, I saw that it was like chasing me for a bit, and that's a bit scary.
Yeah. So but any other sea, fish or...
Lots of flying fish.
Lots of flying fish?
Yeah, they used to land in the tropics. They'll jump on the boat at night, and then your job throughout the day is to... the first job in the day is to pick them up and throw them back. Squids on the deck, and squids, you have to scrape them off because they're very sticky.
Yeah.
Then I've seen turtles, I've seen seals. In fact, in one of the voyages, I thought I was seeing a dead body. I came close, and it was a seal that was sunbathing. Lot of dolphins. Albatross, cormorants. In fact, in the last voyage, I saw 5 penguins go for an evening swim.
Wow, lovely. So tell me, you must have faced storms also.
Many. It's like 2 storms a week. Let's say you get 2 cyclones in the Arabian Sea every year. I get 2 of them every week in the southern
So how do you manage? I mean, you're saying, okay, yeah, for a guy who started off with a thermocol raft in the sea.
I had a better boat.
You had a better boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, that part I've understood. But how are you, okay, let me understand this. How are you not afraid? There is a storm, let's say, at night. There is a cyclone at night. There is wind. There are high waves. Your boat is going up and down, and it's doing whatever a boat does in that weather. How did you manage it?
So it's just a matter of getting used to it. The first one you're scared. The second one you're like, oh, there's another storm. Third one, acha, fir se aa gaya. So you just get used to it, and then you know what to do, and then you reduce your sails. You know that if a storm is going to come, you cook food in advance, and you do as much repairs as you can, so that while you are in the storm, you're just looking after the boat and not exactly repairing things.
So your body gets fine-tuned, no? Aayega. It has to come, no?
It has to come.
It has to come,
yes.
And when it comes, you be prepared. It's better for you to be prepared.
Exactly.
So what did you eat? I mean, khaya kya?
I carried 3 different kinds of food. I had tinned meats, and which I used to have with rice, which I used to cook. I had a lot of good stuff from DFRL, Defense Food Research Laboratories, and they had everything from chicken biryani to paneer pulao to nice sounding stuff. And I had freeze dry food into which you just add hot water and you can eat. So this is what was my main source of food. And
Lots of calories, no?
you need at least 4,000 calories a day.
Wow, that's twice more
Yes, exactly.
than a normal guy.
Exactly, and it's difficult to eat so much when you're alone, and that too when everything is moving around, because the tendency is to throw up. That's a tendency. When I crossed the equator in the last race, I saw that a lot of cans of meat had rusted, and the meat was spilling out, and there was worms in it.
Uh-huh.
So I had to throw away a lot of my food, and I think towards the end I was only on rice, milk, sugar, and tea.
For how many days?
Last 3 days.
Rice, sugar, that's how we make kheer, by the way. Huh?
That's what.
Yeah?
So that used to be breakfast, and then keep boiling tea throughout the day and keep drinking tea.
That's it, is it?
That's it.
But you didn't have an SOS like, okay, here's my sat phone and let me call for.
I can. I mean, there's a
Anytime.
There's a sat phone. You want to declare an SOS, do that. But your entire effort goes for a toss because you're disqualified.
No, even if you want food, you can't
No,
say that.
you cannot take anything. It's supposed to be unassisted, so you cannot take anything from outside.
Okay.
Even if you borrow a pen, you're disqualified.
But if you yourself catch something from the sea and eat it, that's okay.
Yes, so you can harvest the sea, and you can get information from outside, but nothing material.
Nothing material.
Yeah.
So you basically have to do with whatever you have, and that's about it.
Exactly. It's like the Earth going around the sun every year, and you've got only so much resources. Like that, you start with a boat that is filled with whatever you want, and you have to go around the Earth.
Wow. So what did family and course mates say? Say, hey Abhilash, you're going crazy. Who does this? And I mean, वो बचपन में राफ्ट बना के तो ठीक था यार, लेकिन but this is too much.
So
Didn't people say that?
Over the last 20 years, I've seen how people change. There are family friends who call you and say, "Why are you doing this? Get married." I had friends from my squadron tell me, just chuck all the sailing and stick to flying for 20 years, and when you get out, you can easily become captain of Air India or Indigo or whatever, and have a comfortable life. And then when you succeed, you can hear the tone change and say, "See, I told you, it's you should be doing."
We knew Abhilash
We
could
knew,
do it.
we knew
We
it.
knew all along.
Yeah.
In the academy only we knew.
Exactly.
This is the guy who will go around
Exactly.
the world.
But when you talk about family, I really want to talk about this incident. I had the accident. I just had the surgery. I was on crutches, learning to walk again. And I ordered a book on sailing. And when my wife saw that I was reading a book on sailing, she's like, "Are you planning to go back again?" I said, "Yes." And then she says, "Just make sure that you have a good sponsor and a good team." She didn't say no. When my mother called me, and again, I needed help to get out from my bed. It was so bad. When my mother called me and she said, "I hope you're going to stop all this nonsense," I said, "If I'm better, I might go back to sea." She said, "That's exactly the answer what I expected out of you."
You've had very strong women in your life, no?
Absolutely. So again, my mother, I was, just getting out of the BFTS in Allahabad,
Yeah.
and you have to choose your aircraft. So I chose reconnaissance. My mother calls me and says, "Why not fighters?" I said, "Mom, you have to fly MiG-21s, and they're called flying coffins, and so many people died just in training." And she says, "It will take just 7 seconds. You'll not even know you're dead."
Wow. The heart of a soldier, huh?
Yeah, truly.
Very impressive. So tell me, how did the Navy react initially?
So the Navy
You were shore
was,
support, right? Shore support is what you said, no?
I was shore support for Captain Donde.
Captain Donde. But after that, when you must have said that, okay, now I want to go around the world non-stop.
So it was not exactly like that. This was all pushed by a guy called Admiral Awardee, who's Veer Chakra and the hero of 71 war and all that. And he convinced the Navy that we need to build a boat in India and do a circumnavigation. That's how Captain Donde goes around the world. And then he proposes to the Navy that we need to do a non-stop circumnavigation. And that is a dream I was carrying from 1999 when I read about Around Alone. So it was like a very happy marriage. The Navy asking me, and before the question gets completed, I say, yes.
I want to do this.
I want to do this. And we go about it in a very professional way. I sailed from India to Brazil and back, almost 27,000 miles of training for a voyage that is 22,000 miles. And the Navy...
This typical force, no? Just overtrain, keep on training.
That's how it is. I was so overtrained that I went around the world and came back with just 3 defects in the boat. And in fact, when the president came to meet me and I had to give a speech, I said, the boat is in such good state of preservation that if you give me food, water and fuel, I can go tomorrow for one more around the world. So the Navy really, prepared the boat very well, gave me everything that I asked. In fact, they even kept 5 lakhs aside for kind of out-of-pocket expenses where I don't have to tender out and buy things. So the Navy really helped in the first circumnavigation.
Okay. So let me ask you, you're in this boat and you're going around the world and you have what? Titanium?
Titanium rods in my spine.
Titanium rods in your spine?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So tell me, so you have titanium rods in your spine and you have a supportive family, supportive wife, supportive mother, supportive Navy. So that takes care of the emotional aspect and also the logistics per se.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're one guy alone in the boat. And I'm saying this time and again because there is that skill required to sail that boat. Yeah. Let's not discount that. That is the one thing. Then you require the attitude. Also the ability to stay alone. Not many people can crack that. Alone. Hundreds of kilometers, maybe even thousands. No human being, nothing. And days on end like that. How do you cope with that?
I love being alone. So for me, being alone is the simplest part of the entire thing. It's quite easy for me. I've got a very imaginative mind. I stay inside my mind. I make my own worlds. I meditate at sea. So that's very good for my emotional, health. And this time in this race that I did, my biggest worry was that I was not able to speak to my family. I was not sure if they were well looked after, if they needed anything or not. But barring that fact, I'm very happy being alone. I can spend even longer time at sea. And for me, it's always a problem to readjust back to people.
Land life.
Land life.
So to say, huh?
Yeah.
So you're not the kind of a guy who says, okay, let's go to a party and let's have fun.
No.
You have to be dragged to a party.
Kind of. I mean, I can be with people for
a limited period of time.
Yes. I'm not antisocial, but
Yes.
I'm, let's say, asocial.
Asocial.
Yeah.
Not very comfortable with crowds.
I can manage for some time.
I can
but
manage.
After that, I need to go back and recharge.
I have the same problem, by the way. I'm not very social either. So you're in the middle of the sea and I just wanted to know, let's say you take a nap, you go to sleep. What happens to the boat at that point in time?
So the boat has got a very rudimentary autopilot, and that autopilot steers the boat. But you cannot go for an 8-hour nap because things can change within 15-20 minutes.
Okay.
So every 15-20 minutes you get up and check if the winds, if the sails are trimmed properly, if the wind has changed, if the boat is going in the direction that you want. Is there any new information that you need to act on? Are there ships around you? So yeah, it's like you keep taking a 15-minute nap and come out and check and then repeat this process for 8 months. So you get about 4 or 5 hours of sleep on an average every day.
You understand how crazy that sounds to a normal guy? Take 15-minute naps.
Well, crazy and normal, if you ask me, I think you guys are crazy to stay on land and not come to sea.
Okay, because yeah, I had a similar experience when I was talking to a para special forces sniper.
Okay. Oh yeah, they have to wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's just like this for 3 days.
God.
And I said, what's wrong with not moving?
Yeah.
And the only thing he'll move is his jaws because he's eating some chocolate for nutrition or some protein bar. And he's like this. And I asked him, do you even blink and all that? So yeah, that into so many months. This is crazy.
No,
so,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you don't sleep for 2 days, you can end up with hallucinations. So you have to sleep, but if you sleep too long, you end up getting into trouble.
How are you going to adjust to land life? Are you just going to say that you wake up every 15 minutes and see if the house is going elsewhere or what? Because you're going to be sleeping in your house. Yeah.
So that happened as soon as I landed.
Yeah.
Like waking up at odd hours to check if the lines are trimmed or not. And then you realize that, no, the bed is not really moving.
Yeah.
And I mean, the most fundamental shift was using a toilet that was not splashing things from bottom.
Yeah. Okay, that's a challenge, huh?
It's a big shift.
It's a big shift.
Yeah, to sit in a toilet that's flat.
And also land that is, or the ground that is not moving beneath your feet.
Yeah, I mean, when I got out of the boat, I was like walking like a drunk with so much hair and beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, let's say early morning, if I go for a walk, people would make way for me because they thought I was a tramp or drunk or something.
This guy's going to go all ballistic right now.
Yeah.
You complete this race and you came second.
Yeah.
You came second. And there was a lady, I think, who came first?
Yes.
There was a lady.
Yeah.
And the one who inspired you also?
Was a woman.
Was a woman.
Yeah.
Strong women everywhere, huh?
Yeah.
Who've inspired you and stuff like that. Okay. So now I'd like to ask you, were you prepared for medical emergencies? I'm sure you were.
Yes. So I underwent a 10-day course, Master Medicare, where they teach you to stitch yourself and, give yourself medication, even insert a catheter, do all those things. And I had a medical kit. Plus, if something happened, there's a particular doctor whom I can consult over sat phone. And it did happen. I had a problem with my back again. My right leg stopped functioning. And then I took permission from these guys and called my physio. And I got some advice.
Yeah. So, did you fall ill or something like that, or did you,
No illness, but I had problems with my back.
because of the operation and all that?
Because of the operation, and then I ran out of water. So less water is bad for the muscles. And I was surviving on 1 liter of water in the entire Southern Ocean. So I had this huge storm on 26th January, and I ended up steering the boat myself for 12 hours. And it's difficult to steer a long keel boat. You have to use full, back and legs and everything to steer it. And after 12 hours, my back packed up. My right leg stopped working. I was literally dragging my right leg on the boat for the next 3-4 days.
You're in the middle of the ocean.
Middle of the ocean in a storm.
Wow.
And then I, decided to consult a doctor.
But you can consult.
Yes.
You can't physically take a tablet or something like that.
Yes.
But you can consult.
You can consult. So these are the places where they will let you use your sat phone.
So, otherwise you can't use a sat phone.
No. You have to call the race organizers every week to tell them that things are fine. Do a little interview, but otherwise you cannot use your sat phone. And if you call anybody, you're disqualified.
Really crazy. Eh?
It's very crazy.
It's very crazy.
No sat phone, no GPS, no electronic watches, no satellite internet, no weather data coming through internet, nothing. It's just sun, moon, stars, and HF radio.
It's not like you can steal an iPad and say that, okay, I'll watch Netflix for 8 months. No, it doesn't happen like that.
No. In fact, the common joke during my entire race, the organizers would ask me if everything was fine. I say, the internet's not working. My Netflix subscription has run out and I'm not liking it.
Great. And what did the doctor say when you said that you're having this problem? What did he say?
So he identified it as a muscular problem. It was a physio I consulted. He said it's a muscular problem, and he gave me some stretching exercises, and I couldn't do all of it because the boat was dancing.
But tell me, what did you do about the water?
So I was on 1 liter of water. I was drinking 1 cup of water in 2 days, and I was cooking rice in seawater. That's how I survived.
Namkeen rice, huh?
Namkeen rice. I used to rinse it with fresh water at the end of it and clean the salt a bit. So that's how I survived till Cape Horn. And Cape Horn, I got a little bit of rain, so I caught 20 liters of water. After that, I got 30 liters of water close to Chile. And then close to the equator, I got 100 liters. So then it was all fine.
Party.
Sure.
Now, you've come back.
Yeah.
And what are the Navy's reaction? That's what I want to know.
Navy is really thrilled. Because this is a program that the Navy started in the last decade with Captain Donde going around the world. And then I went around the world, and 6 women went around the world. And there was a time when I wanted to take part in the Golden Globe race, and I was very belligerent for some reason. And it was the Navy that sat me down and said, stay in the Navy, we'll figure a way for you to take part. And they really helped like that. And 3 months later, they were rescuing me, the Navy is very happy that I went back and did this.
Yeah, but we saw in the news, we saw the news of you being rescued and all that, and that was...
Yeah, it was crazy, but I believe it was a real training exercise for the Navy as well to pick out.
But they sent the Marcos or something like that to pick you up.
They didn't, but I was rescued by a French fisheries patrol boat.
Okay.
And then taken to Amsterdam Island.
No, but the Indian Navy is also involved.
The Indian Navy sent a P8I, the Australians sent a P8, and they were constantly flying over me, keeping me in their sight.
Yeah.
3.5 days after the accident, Osiris came and they picked me and transferred me to a French island called Amsterdam Island. Meanwhile, the Australians sent a ship called Ballarat from Australia. Indian Navy sent a ship from India, Satpura. And finally, I was transferred to Satpura and I was brought back to India. And MRI scan, and then I was flown to Delhi, and then 2 implants and surgery and all that happened on the 16th day after the accident. So from the day I had the accident till the day I had the surgery, if anybody had mishandled me, I would have been paralyzed for life. And that's what I say, how professional all these seafarers were, be it the Indian Navy, be it the crew of Osiris or the doctor in Amsterdam Island. If anyone had made a mistake, I would have been paralyzed.
Wow. So what next? What next? What from here?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, this time things went well. I had a fantastic sponsor called Bayanat, based out of UAE. I had a very good team comprising a board designer, a team manager from the United States, support of my family and all that. It was good.
But what else can you do? You can't say that I'll go around the world twice now. You've already done it.
Well, you never know. So one of the things that I always wanted to do was fly around the world, because nobody has flown and sailed around the world alone. I also would love to race a team and do team racing around the world. Team racing as in race around the world with a team. In that sense, it will give opportunity to a lot of Indians to go to sea. So right now what happens is you take part in sailing races, you are limited to dinghies, which are small boats, and you sail inside the harbor. And sailors keep doing that for 30, till they're 30, then they're 40, and they're still doing the same thing, and 50, they're doing the same thing, and they don't have an avenue to progress.
Wow.
But I think we've got some really talented people, and if I'm able to raise enough money, I should be racing around the world with a full team. And that's also an opportunity for them to grow out of what they've been doing.
But I think you should definitely take up that aircraft channel because you're an aviator, right?
Yes,
Basically.
so the thing is, nobody has flown and sailed around the world alone. And this is, I think...
The double whammy has not happened.
Exactly, and it's like this is a very unique opportunity, and it's fallen in the lap of India.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody else can even think of doing it because you don't have sailors who are professionally sailing and professionally flying.
In fact, your expertise is actually flying.
Yes, I mean, I'm a pilot.
You're a pilot. You're
Yeah.
a naval aviator.
Yeah.
You flew fighter jets.
Reconnaissance.
Reconnaissance for the Navy.
Yeah.
So you flew reconnaissance for the Navy and then you said sailing. So now, yeah, but I mean, knowing you now, you'd probably say, okay, one tank full and go around the world in one tank and I don't know what. But this is the stuff of a Netflix series. Yeah, I'm sure people would be contacting you, and this is something out of Netflix. There's a song on you now.
Yes, so that's what, I mean, this is really, really thrilling because it came as a big surprise. And, there's a story on how it happened, but fact is there's a song and it's from Bollywood. It's from a fantastic guy called Sajid. And I was just telling him that, if Bollywood has taken notice, it means I have arrived.
Yeah. I think it's been, I heard that song. And it's very goosebumpy in the sense that it's a very peppy song. It's a very nice song.
It's very hummable. It's
very hummable. It's a good. It's a very feel-good song, no?
Yes.
Especially when you're standing there with the tricolor.
Yes.
It's absolute goosebump moments. I think it's a fantastic, lovely song.
So the thing is, one reason why I did the Golden Globe race of 22 was to, take the national flag around the world as my tribute to Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Wow.
And Sajid has taken it one step further, and he's made a beautiful video and song around the flag. And I think it is all worth it.
So, Commander Abhilash Tomy, thank you very much for joining our show, and unique privilege for me because what you have done, there's a saying, no, it is the crazies that change the world, and you have done something that is, I mean, I couldn't have imagined. I meet a lot of achievers on this show. But let me tell you honestly, I've never met a guy like you who has, this is going around the sea in a boat and not taking even a pen. 8 months?
236 days, nearly 8 months.
Nearly 8 months?
Yeah.
Wow, 8 days is difficult. 8 days is horribly tough. Here you're talking about almost 8 months. Wow, hats off to you. And many, many congratulations to you and many congratulations to India.
Thank
because
you
that
so
was the
much.
Indian flag you were waving.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, with Commander Abhilash Tomy, formerly of the Indian Navy, he's got a Kirti Chakra, he's got a Sena medal, sailed around the world in a boat, a modern Indian hero. Thank you for watching this episode, and I'll be back again next week with another achiever. Jai Hind.